Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Thursday, January 24th, 2013. It's still very cold here in Princeton, New Jersey. It was 9 degrees this morning driving into work. The loss estimates for Superstorm Sandy continue to climb. According to Aon Benfield, the storm inflicted $28.2 billion of losses on private insurers and the U.S. government-backed flood insurance program. The broker has now ranked Sandy as the second costliest U.S. storm in history. This is, of course, after Hurricane Katrina. It did not give a breakdown of how the losses were divided between the National Flood Insurance Program and private insurers, but the NFIP has given a range before of $6 to $12 billion for Sandy. So this would mean that the estimate for private insurance could be as high as $22 billion. Aon Benfield said that the total insured cat losses in 2012, supposedly a relatively benign year, were 36% higher than the 10-year average at $72 billion. In sharp contrast to 2011, which was the worst year ever for international catastrophe losses, in 2012 the U.S. accounted for almost 90% of insured cat losses. This number is not finished yet. The business interruption claim shoe has yet to drop. Kohlberg Kravis Roberts, the Wall Street buyout firm, made a big announcement today. They bought about a 25% stake in Nephila Capital down in Bermuda. This continues a relationship that had begun with Nephila at Nephila's inception back when KKR owned the broker giant Willis, which essentially gave birth to Nephila back in the 90s. The insurance-linked security specialist Nephila believes that the newly announced investment from KKR will present opportunities among state governments looking to transfer cat exposure to them. In June of 2008, the world's largest hedge fund, Man Group, bought a 25% stake in Nephila. The KKR deal will see the firm acquire shares from both Man Group and Nephila's management team, led by Frank Majors and Greg Haygood, the founders, which will cut the hedge fund stake. This would be Man Group's down to about 18.5%. Nephila said, "We're confident our new partnership with KKR will present new sources of investment opportunities, particularly with state governments that are exploring new ways to transfer cat exposures." Frank Majors is a very smart guy. This is very good news. American International Group filed legal papers yesterday asking its former chief executive, Maurice Greenberg, to please finally tell them if he intends to challenge AIG's decision to not join in his lawsuit against the federal government. Greenberg, of course, is filing the government for wrongful appropriation of private assets when they intervened several years ago to save the company. AIG had been mulling over whether to join the lawsuit, which prompted an outrage in the United States after the taxpayers had bailed them out. And now AIG has formally asked Greenberg, tell us what you are going to do. Are you going to sue us for not joining the suit? Yesterday we announced that Prime Minister David Cameron of England had announced that he's going to hold a referendum on whether or not the UK should continue in the European Union. That would, of course, be contingent upon him being re-elected in 2 years. The chairman of Lloyd's, John Nelson, has thrown his support behind the UK planned referendum, but he does say that it's important that the United Kingdom remain in the EU. He said the democratic process is important, and he said that in fact the new relationship with the EU that could result from an approval in that referendum would be a good thing. Peoria, Illinois-based RLI Group strongly outperformed Wall Street earnings forecasts with operating earnings per share of 89 cents a share compared to estimates of analysts at only 45 cents a share. They also unveiled a $5 a share special dividend, representing a $106 million return of capital to shareholders. Solvency II is supposedly in trouble again. The leader of the German finance industry watchdog, the BaFin, made an announcement in Frankfurt yesterday that it's likely to be delayed until possibly 2017. The EU already wants to delay S2 until 2015 or 2016, but Ms. Elke Koenig, who's the chairwoman of the BaFin, says that the implementation schedule must remain realistic above all else. and I believe 2017 is more realistic than 2016. The difficulty in implementing this right now is that it would cause major problems for a large number of German insurers stemming from their life business, which is predicated upon guaranteed returns to policyholders and annuitants. Because of the low interest rates, they can't possibly meet those under the new financial targets that would be imposed by Solvency II. The London insurer Atrium, which is also a syndicate, was orphaned back when Goldman Sachs sold off, when Goldman Sachs bought their parent company Ariel, and now they are up for sale, and it seems as if their former active underwriter Christine Dandridge is readying a bid for the Lloyd's carrier. She's got some big help, BTG Pactual, which is a Brazilian hedge fund. It's an investment bank as well, with significant assets of $2+ billion, is apparently readying a bid, and Ms. Dandridge's knowledge of Atrium's operations is said to give her an inside track. Officials in India-administered Kashmir have published an advisory in a local newspaper warning residents to be prepared for a possible nuclear war by building bomb shelters and other precautions. This is only 2 weeks after a series of deadly attacks on the border. In an unprecedented move, the government published an advisory on Monday in an English-language newspaper. Local officials said that the advisory was merely routine, and it did not signal any new concerns about the prospect of a nuclear attack. Some of the things that the advisory said: if the blast wave does not arrive within 5 seconds of the nuclear flash, you are probably far enough away from ground zero. A resident said that the notice is fueling an atmosphere of fear. Educating people is fine, but not in this brazen way. The notice provided vivid details on do's and don'ts, including the construction of bunkers, which should be stocked with non-perishable food and waters, as well as ample supplies of candles and batteries. It also said to expect some initial disorientation, as the blast wave may blow down and carry away many prominent and familiar features. A local newspaper editorial said that the advisory was ill-timed and inopportune. No kidding. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.